Okay, please watch this all the way through. Please promise me you will stay and watch the whole thing, okay? Sean O'Brien, president of the Teamsters, the biggest union in the country. Fuckboy Trump calls him and says, hey, why don't you come speak at the RNC? Now, we know Sean didn't become president of the Teamsters for being dumb. So he's like, sure, I'll come up. I'll make a speech for you. And at first I'm like, what? He's speaking at the RNC? Did they get to him? Did they buy him off?
Claptrap that unions destroy American companies. Take a moment to consider United Parcel Service, which is the largest private sector logistics company, and it's been unionized for more than 100 years.
Because he's like,
President Trump had the backbone to open the doors to this Republican convention, and that's unprecedented.
and then I'm like, oh no, really?
No other nominee in the race would have invited the Teamsters into this arena. Now, you can have whatever opinion you want, but one thing is clear. President Trump is a candidate who is not afraid of hearing from new, loud, and often critical voices.
But then I see everybody get a little bit nervous. Their faces look a little...
He claptrap that unions destroy American companies. Take a moment to consider United Parcel Service, which is the largest private sector logistics company, and it's been unionized for more than 100 years. More than 350,000 Teamsters make it run. We work for good middle-class wages, quality health care, and secure pensions. There are work rules that ensure fairness and due process for both sides. UPS is the most efficient package delivery company in the world. But let's not forget that UPS doesn't provide these great wages and benefits out of the kindness of its heart. UPS does it because the Teamsters fight for it, all 350,000 of us. You know, corporatists hate when working people join together to form unions. But for a century, major employers have waged a war against labor by forming corporate unions of their own. We need to call the Chamber of Commerce and the business roundtables what they are. They are unions for big business. And here's another fact. Against gigantic multinational corporation, an individual worker has zero power. It's only when Americans band together in democratic unions that we win real improvements on wages, benefits, and working conditions. Companies like Amazon are bigger than most national economies. Amazon is valued over $2 trillion. That makes it the 14th largest economy in the world. What is sickening is that Amazon has abandoned any national allegiance. Amazon's sole focus is on lining its own pockets. Remember, elites have no party, elites have no nation. Their loyalty is to the balance sheet and to the stock price at the expense of the American worker.
And then Mr. Sean O'Brien showed up.
Working people know our system is broken. The elites are not laboring on behalf of workers. There is a political caste system that prevents citizens from accessing their representatives to hold them accountable. Men and women who provide goods and services, deliver packages, stock grocery shelves, care for patients, pick up your trash, and keep our communities safe are taken for granted. All the while, the stock market booms. Housing prices hit record highs and corporate salaries skyrocket. But the income of everyday Americans are shrinking in the face of inflation. At the gas pumps, at the grocery store, with the electrical bill, and with the car insurance. This has got to change. Never forget, American workers own this nation. We are not renters. We are not tenants. But the corporate elite treat us like squatters, and that is a crime. We've got to fix it. We need trade policies that put American workers first. It needs to be easier for companies to remain in America. We need legal protections that make it safer for workers to get a contract. We must stop corporations from abandoning local communities to inflate their bottom line. We need meaningful bankruptcy reform. Today, corporate vultures buy up companies like Yellow Freight with the intent of driving them into bankruptcy and feasting on their remains. The courts leave workers begging for crumbs as third-tier creditors. Labor law must be reformed. Americans vote for a union but can never get a union contract. Companies fire workers who try to join unions and hide behind toothless laws that are meant to protect working people but are manipulated to benefit corporations. This is economic terrorism at its best. An individual cannot withstand such an assault. A fired worker cannot afford corporate delays, and these greedy employers know it. There are no consequences for the company, only the worker. We need corporate welfare reform. Under our current system, massive companies like Amazon, Uber, Lyft, and Walmart take zero responsibilities for the workers they employ. These companies offer no real health insurance, no retirement benefits, no paid leave, relying on underfunded public assistance. And who foots the bill? The individual taxpayer. The biggest recipients of welfare in this country are corporations, and this is real corruption. We must put workers first.
Remember, Donald Trump has been a union buster his whole adult life. He's went to court over trying to get unions torn apart and everything. He's hired undocumented immigrants to work at his hotels so he wouldn't have to pay taxes on it. Oh my God. Look at their faces. Look at their faces. Look how nervous they are. Look at Trump and little Trump. Look at their faces. Oh my God. I wish they would pan down so we could see if they peed themselves. If Sean O'Brien ever runs for president, he's got my vote. He was smart enough to know how to get in. He was smart enough to know how to get their attention and keep it for a little while. And he was smart enough to unload at them at just the right time. It's so perfect. Republicans are not the party of American workers. Democrats are. And let's forget about all that for a minute. Why don't we start going rep by rep and seeing what their record is for pro-American worker policy and go from there. And I know you'll find that it's more Democrats, but this dude is so right. He is so right. And he is telling the people doing what he's saying that they're doing, he's telling them right to their faces. He did it last night. This is what you are, and I'll never stop fighting you about it. So, good job. Sean O'Brien, if you ever see this, good job. You got my vote if you ever run for president.